Tom Coyle. I'm Senior Lab Assistant at Mule State Prison. I've been at CDCR about 2 years. My job is to do audits. I'm the liaison between our people and the Quest labs. If there's a problem with any testing or questions about any of the testing, I take care of that. And if somebody's absent, I'll fill in on drawing blood on different yards. My wife describes me as quiet and more of an introvert. If I'm in a big group of people, I'll kind of sit back and kind of read everybody before I involve myself. It bothers my wife a little bit that I'm so quiet, but that's just who I am. My wife, Molly, is a nurse at CDCR, Mule Creek State Prison, and she happened to be on a double that day. So before I left work, I went and saw her, and I was just a normal drive home until I got to that intersection, and for some reason that day it was more crowded than it usually is. There was traffic backed up in all four directions. I looked up Grant Line Road and I saw a garbage truck approaching the line of cars, and it didn't look like he was slowing down. I thought, he's going to hit those cars. So, and he did. He hit the cars didn't even look like he was on his brakes at all. And when he hit the last truck, there was a white Chevy pickup, the last truck on the line, it flew through the air. And when it landed, it immediately burst into flames. And I saw a man, I assumed at the time was the driver, come out of the vehicle, and the vehicle was already in flames. I could not believe what I was seeing. There were two other trucks in front of that one. They rolled off to the side of the road, hit a telephone pole, and knocked it over. It didn't go all the way down, but it was leaning, which snapped the power lines. Then the garbage truck continued onto the opposite side of the road, out partially into the field on the shoulder of the road. The white Silverado in the middle of the road was burning, and those two trucks on the side of the road were also burning. And there was a grass fire on both sides of the road. There happened to be a CHP officer in front of me in the line of cars. I looked at him to see if he had seen it, and he was looking at his mobile data terminal in his vehicle, so he was looking away from where the crash happened. I tried to get his attention, and so finally I just honked my horn. And when I honked my horn, he looked up at his rearview mirror, and I pointed that direction. He looked over, and that's when he, I could see the look of surprise on his face. He pulled into the oncoming lanes and parked on Grant Line Road near the crash. I pulled over on the side of the road. I saw the driver. I mean, he had blood on his face. He wasn't moving really well, so I kind of helped him get behind the CHP vehicle to keep him safe from the fire. I started talking to the driver, asked him his name. He couldn't tell me his name. He kept asking me repeatedly, what happened? What happened? I said, you're in a car accident. You're going to be okay. Help's on the way. That's when I started hearing the pops, loud pops and explosions coming from the vehicle. The CHP officer told me, make sure you stay behind my car. That's ammunition cooking off inside the vehicle. I was a little concerned. I know that when ammunition cooks off like that, usually the bullet stays put and the casing flies. I didn't know how much ammunition was in there or what else was in that vehicle. You're never completely 100% safe in a situation like that. You could feel the heat. I think had he laid next to that vehicle for too long, there would have been some problems. I could feel it. I knew we had to move. After I helped the man behind the CHP car, and I was assessing him, I looked over at the garbage truck and I saw that the driver was still in it. I kind of tapped the CHP officer on the leg and got his attention. I said, hey, I pointed over, I said, he's still in the truck. When the garbage truck hit the other truck, the windshield and everything was just gone out of the truck. We ran over there. The CHP officer got there first, and we kind of helped him kind of over the top of the steering wheel out onto the ground, and I walked him away to get him away from the fire and from the ammunition that was cooking off. And I asked him, I said, are you okay? You need any help? And he kind of just, yeah, I'm fine, and just walked away. And I don't know where he went after that. I didn't see him after that. I went back to the driver, continued to talk to the driver, trying to get him hopefully to come around. At that point, I felt the heat from the fire, and I looked over, and the fire was probably 3 to 4 feet from where we were at. I told him, we have to move you, we have to get you out of here. I got behind him and I hooked my arms under, around his chest, and he helped me. He kicked his legs and we moved back a little bit, and I laid him back down. Sac Metro Fire showed up. They started assessing the scene. Well, they couldn't really do anything with the fire because of the power line. A few minutes after their arrival, fire captain came running over and said, hey, we got to get everybody out of here. That power pole's going to come down and you're all in danger right now. So once again, I scooped Gary up. I put one arm over my shoulder and tried to to get him out of there. And I was yelling, can somebody help me? Can somebody help me? And a civilian that was nearby ran over and grabbed his other arm, and we moved him over to the middle of the intersection. There was a Rancho Cordova police department car there. We put him into the police car where we had air conditioning. We can keep him, or we can make sure that he was safe. I was aware that it was leaning. I didn't even think about it. I was so focused on what I was doing. All I know is there was fire on both sides of the road, and the fire department couldn't fight it at the time because of the arcing from the live power lines, because there was too much danger, as far as danger to the personnel because of the power pole, plus water and electricity definitely don't mix. So all they were really doing at that point was fighting the outer edges of the fire to trying to keep it from spreading. I stopped to help because it's what I do. I spent about 26 years in the public safety field. I was a federal law enforcement officer, local patrol officer, volunteer firefighter, EMT in the military, California State Guard. I was in the U.S. Army veteran. As far as saving lives, he saved his own life initially by getting out, because there was no way he would have gotten out if he didn't, when he did. So later I was able to meet the driver of the white truck. It's a small world story. The lady that does my wife's eyelashes posted on Facebook that her husband was in a traffic collision. My wife reached out to her and said, her name's Jessica, and said, hey, was your husband's crash on Grant Line and Jackson Road? And she said, yes, it was. She goes, I think my husband might have helped your husband. And she asked Jessica some questions about the injuries and how he was doing. And Jessica reached out to Molly and said that Gary wanted to meet me. And absolutely, I said, I'd love to meet him. 26 years in public safety, you go to these scenes, you help people, or you don't know if you help them, you do what you can do, and then they leave and go to the hospital, and you never find out what happened to them, how they're doing. So this was a unique opportunity for me. We drove up to their house, and it was very emotional. And we to this day, we're still in touch. It's nice to watch his recovery. So being nominated for Medal of Valor was a humbling experience. From what I understand, this is the highest award that CDCR gives. And it's just, it blows me away. I mean, it just makes me feel really emotional. It makes me feel like something I did was recognized and appreciated. I'm thankful that I was in the right place at the right time.
That day changed my life. It would be a different sentence if it wasn't for Tom. He took action. He changed the world for me, my daughters, my wife, because Tom decided to go into the chaos and help me. I got to see my daughter graduate. I got to see my 4-year-old lose her first tooth. These little mile markers in life we sometimes take for granted. Tom gave that to me. Tom didn't leave me. But thank you, Tom. I love you so much.